Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my unique review for Angry Giant. I'll get into what makes this review more unique for me later, but Angry Giant is an action-adventure 2D platformer. This is an indie game made by only a few people, and right off the bat, I can tell you that this game has a lot of charm and care put into it.
Oh, I am naked! Do not look! I need to get some clothes!
But there really is a lot to unpack, and I'm sure this game can seem a little confusing at first, so let me explain the basics. Starting with the gameplay, so you're this angry giant, obviously, and your goal for most levels is to collect these special enemies, put them in your cage, and get your cage to the end of the level. That's all you really need to know to keep it simple. In the beginning, this can seem confusing if you don't know what you're doing. I didn't have the best first impression, but this game grew on me more and more. But while you're collecting these special enemies and getting your cage to the end of the level, you have regular enemies trying to stop you. There's a decent enemy variety as you progress through the game. You're able to use weapons like a club and a sword, or you can just eat the enemy to get back some health. You also get different powers that take out the enemies in some fun and interesting ways. The combat is alright, and I'm glad there's a decent progression with the items and powers. To make these even more powerful, you can go to the lab and you're able to upgrade pretty much everything. Everything from your armor to your powers. I'm really glad this game has a simple little upgrading system because it adds more replayability for me. I was actually surprised to see all of these items and different powers along with the upgrading system. I think it adds a necessary depth to the game that some people would need to get to the end. Speaking of cool features, they also have this leaderboard for how many enemies you killed. I just think this is one of those things that would be cool if more single player games had this. It adds a competitive and social feeling to the game, and it turns out I was competing with a developer. It also gives me an idea of how many people finish the game and how many people just quit at the beginning. I kinda think a cool feature would be having a leaderboard for each level so players can compete even more. But I think the coolest and most unique feature that this game has that I don't even see many AAA games have is being able to record your own voice lines. Yeah, so if your character dies, you can record your own voice and hear yourself every time you die. You can do this with other things like attacking or eating, but I feel like most players would use this feature for evil. Like someone is gonna make it when their character dies, they'll moan or scream really loud or something, but hey, power to the people, am I right? So enough with the gameplay for now. I'll get into a little more about it later. Let's talk about the story a little bit. So it's kind of like a revenge story because this angry giant wasn't always so angry. Hell, he wasn't even a giant. But the humans did some experimenting on him, and now he's pissed and wants revenge or something. Yeah, I'm not good with stories, but this is actually the biggest part of the game that tells me there is charm and care put into this game. Not exactly for the story itself, even though it's fine, but everything surrounding it. Like, look at these cutscenes. This almost reminds me of a Flash game in the 2000s. Like, I feel like that's the best way to look at and appreciate this game. The graphics are alright, but at times you can notice good attention to detail, like even at the main screen, or when you're doing certain boss fights. It just feels like fun ideas are sprinkled throughout this game. Speaking of boss fights, some of them could be really hit or miss for me. Like the boxing matches were really cool, though easy, but the last boss fight felt so tanky and strong and annoying that I technically didn't finish the game. Yeah, I beat all 49 levels and let the final boss defeat me. Another recommendation I would have for this game would be to add achievements. I think if there were achievements to beat the last boss and to finish the game, I might have struggled through it. I think achievements can be a nice motivation for players like me, so having achievements for killing a certain amount of enemies or beating certain sections of the game would be nice. There's fun extra features in this game that I feel like get ignored because I don't initially care. Like there's these cool secret levels that are different with cool scenery, and I just kind of ignored them because I was just trying to finish the game and they felt like they got in the way. Same with getting these collectibles throughout each level if you really want to 100% this game. All of these features are appreciated, I personally just need achievements to care more. But when it comes to other recommendations I have for this game, it would mostly be to playtest your game and patch all the little things to make this game feel more polished, especially in the first few levels and sections of this game. A first impression is very important, but I think the best thing an indie game can do is sorta not feel like an indie game and more like a AAA game. Now, I'm not saying an indie game shouldn't be unique and ambitious, and there are exceptions, but I just mean with how it feels to play the game and being well made and optimized. There are times where this game feels not that polished and can even be frustrating at times, but I think it's a situation where most indie game players know the deal. Indie games are not AAA games, and we shouldn't treat them like one. This is a passion project, and I'm able to tell because of the cutscenes, the attention to detail, and the constant updates and patches. I also had some in-depth conversations with one of the developers of this game. Yeah, that's right, I'm finally letting it all out. I was able to give my opinions and get some insider info about this game. Alright, for real though. These indie devs reached out to me and came off as very genuine with the game they made and how they communicated with me. I have received a few emails about me playing someone's game, and I guess this is me saying to all the indie devs out there, yes, I can be willing to play your game, but it has to be a genre or type of game I'm interested in, and you have to be respectful. I thought it was a very unique and fun experience playing a game and giving my opinions and advice to the developer as I'm playing their game. I just thought that was a very unique and fun experience for me. I also appreciate being sent a key for this game, but it's only $8 and even cheaper on sale for about 6 to 7 hours of playtime. It's cool seeing changes for this game because it actually used to cost more, but they reduced the price of this game with player feedback. Very consumer friendly. But yeah guys, that's mostly everything I have to say about Angry Giant. It was interesting talking to a developer as I played their game, and I can see myself doing this again in the future. Maybe I should touch on some random things about the game, like enemy variety being very interesting, but the amount of enemies on certain levels can be too much or too little. Some of the parkour and insta-deaths can be very annoying. Lots of little things can use some polishing, like certain boss fights, some physics with objects or characters, and some levels say tap instead of click like this is a freaking mobile game. But on the other hand, I appreciated a lot of things like the voice acting, the change of scenery in different sections of the game, all the little motivations to keep me playing like buying items, and sometimes seeing cutscenes at the start of certain levels. That actually motivated me a lot. And of course, I just appreciate this being an indie game made from the heart with a genuine care for the game. I'm interested to see how much this game gets updated in the future of these developers, but definitely be sure to check out this game in the description if you're even a little interested. This is one of those videos that makes me feel good about what I currently do on YouTube. Gaming is a bit of a passion for me, which is why I even started this YouTube channel. I can tell there was passion put into this game, and it gives me a certain feeling to upload a review on a game that only has a few other reviews or videos on it. For one, there's less competition for me, but a better reason is that AAA games get enough coverage and attention, some more than others, but I like giving attention to games that are underrated or games that I happen to come across. I feel like the deeper you get into a hobby or activity, the more you can appreciate the little or good things about it, even if it's not popular, and that's just how I feel about video games. Of course, there are popular video games that are good, but those are more accessible on a surface level. Good indie games are harder to find to most people and need more support. So if this game even looks a little interesting and you want to support a passion project made by only a few people, then be sure to check in the description to check out Angry Giant. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like to support videos like these. It was cool communicating with an indie dev. Drop a comment telling me what you thought about this game. It means even more for this video because I'm sure the developers want to know your opinions and are reading the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy indie game reviews like this one. Check on the screen for some of my other indie game reviews. I appreciate you guys watching the entire video, and I appreciate the lovely conversation I had with that developer. Sorry if I forgot anything, and I hope to see you guys in another video. Peace.